Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, we're diving straight into an incredibly emotional journey today. I want you to start by using your imagination and traveling back with me a little bit to a startling archaeological discovery made in Japan back in 2011. Researchers were carefully excavating an ancient geological layer, a site completely untouched by modern hands. And what they found hidden in that dirt would entirely change how we look at our best friends today. Picture this. Researchers are digging around, and they unearth a bone from the ancient Jomon period, literally 10,000 years ago. This was an era before farming even existed, back when humans survived purely as hunter-gatherers in primitive forests. But here's the crazy part. When scientists examined these skeletal remains, they were stunned. Why? Because the size and skeletal structure perfectly matched the quirky, curly-tailed dog that's probably sleeping curled up on your couch right now. So this brings up a massive, honestly beautiful mystery. Why hasn't the Shiba Inu changed? I mean, think about it. Over 10 millennia, human civilization completely transformed, right? Empires rose, empires fell, we invented writing, farming, cities, the internet, the whole shebang. The entire world shifted completely. Yet this tiny, spirited dog stayed exactly the same as it was in the Jomon period. How does that even happen? Let's unravel this epic mystery.
Chapter 1. Companions from the Jomon period.
Let's turn back the clock about 15,000 years to the deep, primal forests of Japan. To really grasp this ancient bond, we got to look at the Yamanashi Prefecture ruins. Archaeologists found something incredibly heartwarming there: dog and human bones buried carefully together. And they weren't just tossed aside. They were positioned almost like they were hugging, laid to rest with so much deep care and respect. It proves these dogs weren't just tools for hunting or setting off camp alarms. They lived together, slept together, and were buried together. They were, in the truest sense of the word, family.
Chapter 2. The Science of a Living Fossil.
Now, what's super fascinating here is how modern science backs up this ancient, deeply rooted bond with hard genetics. Back in 2004, there was this groundbreaking American DNA study tracing the genetic roots of dogs worldwide. They tested 85 different global breeds to see how closely they linked to their wild wolf ancestors. Out of all of those, only 14 were classified as true ancient breeds, meaning they have this remarkably pure DNA lineage straight from the very first wolves that walked with humans. And the Shiba Inu? Yep, right there in that elite group of 14. You really see the contrast when you compare these ancient breeds to beloved modern dogs, like Labradors or Golden Retrievers. Those modern breeds were intentionally designed by humans over the last 200 to 300 years to do very specific jobs. But the Shiba Inu wasn't designed for human convenience. It's existed in its current form for over 10,000 years. You realize pretty quickly that Shiba Inus are just operating on a totally different, much older historical timeline. But how on earth did they survive completely unaltered for that long? Well, this miracle was basically only possible because of Japan's geography. Being an isolated island nation surrounded by the sea, Japan acted like a giant, natural vault. It kept foreign dog breeds out and stopped crossbreeding for millennia. That isolation protected their pure, ancient DNA. So when you look into a Shiba's eyes today, you are quite literally looking at a reflection from the ancient Jomon forests.
Chapter 3. The Science of Stubbornness.
Okay, let's jump to the present day and decode those adorable, but let's be honest, highly frustrating daily quirks. If you live with a Shiba, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The squinty Shiba smile, the infamous Shiba freeze, where they just plant their feet on a walk and absolutely refuse to move, the terrifying bathtub screams, and of course, the Shiba dash, when they completely ignore your calls and just rocket past you for no reason. It feels totally irrational, right? But this seemingly irrational stubbornness is actually a scientific badge of honor.
People often describe them using the Japanese word tsundere. It basically means acting aloof, independent, and kind of cold on the outside, but being super loving and loyal on the inside. That tsundere personality isn't them just being a spoiled or poorly trained pet. It's actually the untamed independence of a proud ancient hunter. They survive the wild by reading situations and thinking for themselves. Their whole mindset is basically, you are my friend, you are not my master. They just aren't programmed to blindly obey commands like a retrieving or herding dog. Instead, they use their own minds. They evaluate you, and they actively choose to love you as a trusted equal, rather than just submitting to you as a ruler. Once you realize that, their stubbornness honestly becomes pretty endearing.
Chapter 4. Conquering the Digital World.
So, fast forward to the 21st century. This proud, ancient, independent dog gets unleashed into a completely different kind of wilderness, the internet.
And what happens? They conquer it almost overnight. Just look at this staggering timeline, going from ancient hunting grounds, surviving thousands of years of isolation, to absolute global internet domination in 2013. It all kicked off with a simple photo of a rescue Shiba in Japan named Kabosu-chan. That single photo exploded across borders, giving us the legendary Doge meme.
But why did this specific breed take over our screens? Well, they capture the internet's heart because their incredibly expressive faces perfectly mirror our own complex human emotions. I mean, from absolute goofy joy to utter side-eye confusion, Shibas wear the hearts right on their furry sleeves. They're so emotionally expressive that humans just immediately see themselves in them. There's this hilarious quote from an overseas Shiba owner that I just absolutely love. They said, "I thought I got a dog, but instead I got a small, fierce wolf who chose to love me." That hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures what owners worldwide realize. Adopting a Shiba means welcoming a fiercely independent little wolf into your house. It's a completely unique dynamic compared to almost any other pet.
Chapter 5. An Unbroken Ancient Love.
As we wrap up this explainer, let's take a step back from the internet memes and the DNA sequencing. Let's really reflect on what 10,000 years of unbroken affection actually means for us today. It is a staggering amount of time. Countless human empires have risen and fallen. The world map has been redrawn 1,000 times. Yet that curly tail, that stubborn loyalty, and that joyful sprint when you get home, those haven't changed one bit. It reminds us of a profound truth. We don't tame them, they accept us. Like the saying goes, the Shiba Inu doesn't belong to you. You belong to the Shiba Inu.
This profound relationship completely transcends typical pet ownership. It's definitely not about command and conquer. Because they choose you every single day with their ancient, independent minds, it makes this bond one of the most ancient and purest forms of love to exist on this planet.
So here's the takeaway. When you're sitting on the couch later today, gently petting your dog, or when you're laughing at them flat out refusing to walk in the rain, you aren't just having a mundane moment. That is a direct, unbroken continuation of a Jomon hunter hugging their dog by a warm fire 10 millennia ago. You and your dog are literally writing the newest page in a magnificent 10,000-year-old love story.
Now that you know the incredibly romantic 10,000-year history behind these ancient little wolves, I want to hear from you. What is your absolute favorite Shiba moment? Is it the glowing smile, the dramatic freeze, or something totally unique to your fierce little companion? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I can't wait to see you next time as we dive into another fascinating topic.